Ani nindoe maganaduk, Nikagwegitimagas, Bine Seque to go, Makwa and Odeum, Gavabani Kagish, Kaniganing, and Dunjiba Miigwich. Thank you all for the honor of being here with you tonight. I have a lot of friends out here, a lot of people I know for many years, really honored. People came out, all you Wintus that came from way down there. Right? So my girls, I have so much better time I see them, I just can't quit laughing. So, really honored to be here. I feel like, first, this is an epic moment. This is our moment. Look out there, we're the people that got a shot at stopping them from genetically engineering the world's food supply. We could do this, stop them from combusting the planet through oblivion, making a lot of other things toxic. We have the chance to do something that is great spiritually. And we're going to do that because of our relationship to our Mother Earth and the reaffirmation of our relationship to Mother Earth. And so that is what I was asked to talk to you about tonight, kind of this epic moment we're in. Sometimes I feel like Frodo and Sam, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, let's go. Because it's ours. There's no one else who's going to do this right now. So it is our moment to do these things, to make Minoya Oma Aking this good life here on this earth that the Creator gave us. And to make one that is here not only for us, but for our generations that have not yet arrived. So as I thought about what to talk about tonight, I was asked to speak about the rights of nature, thought about traditional cultural properties and cultural landscapes. Have you guys heard those terms? Those are kind of more academic terms. But it means how you live there. I want to talk a little bit about that because if you live in the same place for a super long time, you understand all about the ecology of that region and the spirit of that place. And so it is not just about the rights of nature, but it is also about our reaffirming our relationship to those places. And that is really a lot of what we must do and we must remember to do because we are in ourselves spiritual beings as well. And there's something that over the process of colonization and separation, we often let that power be taken from us. And there is no time like now to recover that power. This is the time to recover that power. As I look out there and the forces that gather to the east, is that what we shall call them? The ascendancy of the Trump presidency, which to many of us is rather unbelievable. I feel it is really important for us to also talk about what making America great looks like. And I think we have a different idea, and that must be our process too. Because one thing that I refuse to do is to let them take from us our power. Whether it is, when they talk about that they have faith, I too have faith. I have great faith, but I'm not a Christian. When they talk about, what they want to see, we have vision too, and we must actualize that vision. And so this is a battle that continues today, but the reason I tell you these stories is that the rights of nature also exist within the construct of the social relations and the spiritual relations that people have to those places. That those relations are reaffirmed by our people. It is said, one time I heard it said that the difference between native religions and the dominant religions of the Christianity, Judaism, Islam, is that those religions were referred to as commemorative religions. This is very interesting because they commemorate very significant teachings by great spiritual leaders. Our religions, indigenous religions in the Western Hemisphere, I have heard called reaffirmation religions. Reaffirmation because in our spiritual practice, whether it is our dances, whether it is our Medewan ceremonies, or whether it is all of our, our feasting and our fasting, we reaffirm in each season or in each time our relationship to our Mother Earth. And what I would suggest to you is that the challenge that we face here in North America is that it is essential that we that collectively have come to live here. First, that you say, you're all going to stay here, so act like you're going to hang around. That's what I like to say. I have a really good friend named Mike Wiggins, who was the tribal chairman of the reservation known as Bad River. on the shore of Lake Superior. Many years successfully fought a big mine project, a taconite mine, huge mining project. They would just pour in there. And he would listen to the hearings of the state of Wisconsin. And in those hearings, he would hear them repeat things over and over about the capital gains and the production and the profits. And he said one time I was standing with him, we were actually at Medewan's ceremony, so he's standing there and he says, seems like those people don't want to hang around another 1,000 years. And that is really what it is about in part. Mino Oma Aking, making peace here with this earth. Being the people that recover relationship, spiritual relationship, and learn how to act like we want to stay here. Remembering that this land, Oma, is also the Holy Land. The Holy Land is not someplace else. So let me tell you the story of a place that is sacred today. This is a woman that is standing on the shore of the Missouri River. The Missouri River is known also as one of the more sacred rivers in the territory, a river which swirls at a place where there's a confluence of the Cannonball, known as the Cannonball, and the Missouri River. The Cannonball River is really a place where the sacred stones were made. And that is to say that in the current of the river, the sandstone in the confluence of the two rivers would swirl. The current would swirl around the sandstone and made these giant round rocks that, of course, the settlers referred to as cannonballs. That is why they called it the Cannonball River. But it's really the sacred stones of the river themselves. And so one begins to discuss what is sacred about a place. One has to begin with the intersection of all that is beautiful in that territory. And when you have the power of two rivers coming together, there is something that is much greater, much more beautiful than any of us would know. And that is the sacred stones that are created in this confluence. In this same place is the place where at one time, when I think about making America great, I think about 50 million buffalo. That's when America was great. You know what I'm saying? 50 million buffalo. Single largest migratory herd in the world. The pounding of their hooves would change an entire ecosystem. The resonance of the hooves and the pounding of the herds would change how the water related to the soil and related to the plants. Just imagine 50 million buffalo. That's when America was great. America was great when there was 250 species of grass on the northern plains. Biodiversity, tremendous biodiversity. America was great when there was billions of passenger pigeons. That is when America was great. Now we are people who have not seen all of that, but we need to be people who do not have ecological amnesia. That is to say, we cannot be people that forget that beauty and that greatness. Because someplace the spirits of those beings exist. And they count on us not only to remember them, but to whatever ability we have to bring them home. I'll tell you some stories about that in a little bit, but let me tell you a little bit of the story that we are now all watching unfold in North Dakota, in Standing Rock territory. So it is a long story, but what I will tell you is that the Missouri River is the epicenter of northern agriculture in this continent. That is to say, very much like the Nile River Valley. Now, I know in the mythology that created America, there's some kind of idea that we were just like hanging around and I don't know what we was all eating. But someone had to come up with 8,000 varieties of corn before Monsanto. Right? You understand what I'm saying? It's like we had this pretty good. We had 8,000 varieties of corn. That's a lot. We wasn't just chilling. We was working. And a lot of that was the work of women. Actually collecting, if you think about actually a good portion of the world's food, as you know, is grown by women, because not only do we want to know how it grows and how it, when it arrives, but also we want to know how it cooks, if it tastes good, right? So seed selection, why would you want to grow something if it doesn't taste good, right? Seed selection is often the work of great women. So all of these varieties exist in this territory. In this territory, many different people live there. Mandan, Hidatsa, Arikara people, smallpox epidemics devastated those communities. Early 1800s, many of those communities almost disappeared, That is something that is very little recorded in history, very little recorded in the memory. And the dams in the 1960s, called the Pick-Sloan Project, a set of dams assaulted the Missouri River. And in that assault on the Missouri River, they not only changed the ecology of the river for the benefit, it is said, of agriculture in that region, but the 200,000 acres that itself was taken from the Standing Rock Nation, the Hunkpapa people, the 200,000 acres contained 95% of their timber and 75% of their wildlife. They drowned a lot of the people's culture, which is what our people understand happens to us when you have big dam projects. And almost every big dam project in North America has flooded our people, That is what happened there, and that is how a people go from being wealthy to being poor. And so what you are seeing unfolding in North Dakota today is a result of a long history. It is not something that just happened. And so people tried to recover from that and never could kind of successfully get a grip on that. Because what would happen is some other Indian policy would come. For instance, they were told they were supposed to be able to farm. And then most recently, this lawsuit called the Keeps Eagle lawsuit has been settled. And in that, just like the black farmers lawsuit, all of those Indians were denied loans. Much of their land was allotted out to non-Indians, sold or leased, and so today within the Standing Rock Reservation, there are very few native ranchers. Compared to other reservations, there are some. But people were forced into poverty. And in that poverty, the state of North Dakota began to flourish. And the reason I say this is that all of us are kind of watching, I believe, with some horror, what is happening. 485 people have been arrested so far. The situation of those arrests, everyone has been strip searched. Many of them have been cavity searched for misdemeanors, right? I talked to Ron, his horse Thunder, former Tribal College president. I think he's the chairman of the board of the Tribal College now. Former Standing Rock councilman. He's a little older than me. He's in his mid-60s, and he says, yeah, me and the wife was standing there, was watching what was happening, and they kept pushing at us, and we just stood our ground. We just stood our ground. Those cops kept coming, He says, and then they arrest us. And my wife and I, we spent 9 hours in a dog kennel. That's Standing Rock.